So part two, why do it? Why put your ideas out on the internet? And also added into this one, why not? What's maybe going a little too far? So, I was sort of chastised about this. I've been chastised about this a few times. People being like, you're not doing anything, you're not doing any good. But I think the question to that has to be, why not, though? Oh, someone might, think less of you. Someone might get the wrong idea about you. Well, if someone's really willing to look at, your whole body of content and make an evaluation of you, then they'll get a good idea of who you are. Everyone has probably everyone has some notion that would lose them friends if they knew it. I'd say everyone should be mindful about what kind of impression they give off. There's a lot of people I've noticed that want to be like, oh, I am just me in my pureness. Let me say all the most harsh, indefensible things that give a bad impression of me right away. Which is kind of ironic that I'm sort of criticizing that. Yeah, I don't think you should do that. I think you should be more personable, but it's ironic that I'm mentioning this because one of my first posts that actually made me a top contributor on Gnosis Group I was talking about Crowley and Joseph Smith. And I had no idea it was a controversial opinion, or it was controversial to admire Aleister Crowley. But a lot of people were calling me a pedo and everything else, pervert, I would say, knowing some about Tantra, I just don't find a lot of the things I've heard about Crowley all that strange. Because especially once you start doing any kind of sex magic, lust or perversion, it's such a different thing. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. I'm going to say it's totally a different thing. It's not, oh, dirty old man, let's prey on some women or something. Maybe but for the most part, especially Tantra, which I believe he did do some Tantra, it will make you really not lust at all, practically. It really activates something deeper, and you're just not really on that material sort of level. And I think just simply reading about what members of the OTO were doing later, I would pretty much guarantee that he was pretty deep into Tantra. I think he's the one that made the assertion that Western magic is just Tantra imported, like Buddhist Tantra imported into the West. Like the ceremonial magic and stuff is just Tantra. Not everything in Tantra is sex, but and for me, that controversy actually won me some friends, and it just kind of pissed off people that weren't on my wavelength anyways, and really weren't having a comprehensive view of things. They're just sort of I heard something unsavory about Aleister Crowley, so he's practically the devil. I'm not interested in the sort of Christian esoterics that's trying to make the world more moral type thing. I'm just not interested in that. I think it's basic. I think it's uncomplex. I think on the other hand, there's sort of this more witchy or Masonic view of it, where people are just to make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs, and then, you know, but then nothing's sacred practically. And it's just cutting corners every which way. I don't like that way either. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think there's just some things that are critical and some things that just simply are not. I think, to me, it's all about sort of this Buddhist Zen type, you know, let's reduce each other's suffering. And if we're not reducing each other's suffering, sort of what's the point? And, you know, you can even upgrade that to a grand level, and then that can come almost into conversation with, like, the Kabbalistic concept of tikkun olam, things like that, which actually dovetails right into what I was talking about, what I started the video about, is, you know, I think the adding to sort of the collective conversation is a form of tikkun olam, is, you know, we're building the temple of knowledge. I'm very sort of passionate about that. So yeah.